Hi, welcome to Sewist. My name's Corinne Brad, and today I've got a quick demonstration to show you how to make these very cute flower petal scrunchies, and they're perfect for popping around a bun, messy bun or a neat bun, however you like. They're great for using up scraps of fabric, and they're very simple to make. So if you look in the description below, we will have a template for you to download and trace onto a piece of cardboard. And then what I suggest you do is, if you get two pieces of fabric, like so, place them right sides together and draw around your templates, fitting them in as many as you can, and pop a pin in it. And what we're going to do is we're going to stitch before we sew. The reason I do this is because it's actually much easier. You keep the integrity of the fabric better, and especially when you're turning a curve and a corner, it's just you've got more fabric to hang on to. So, pop your fabric in your machine, and what you want to do is you want to start just away from the centre of, like, the bow shape. A couple of stitches backwards to lock it, and then just manipulate the fabric around the pencil line, because the pencil line is not a fabric cutting line, it is your seam line. And you see what I mean about there's far more fabric to hold on, so that you can actually run around this fairly easily. Let's just move my elastic out. And where I've started the stitching here, you need to finish stitching about 2 centimetres away from it. Because you will, of course, need to turn it the right way out. Make sure your needle is out of the fabric before you try and pull it away. And then what you would do is you would sew every single one of these, which I'm not going to do because you know how to use a sewing machine. Well, hopefully you do, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. And then cut them out with a pair of pinking shears. If you haven't got pinking shears, you can cut them out with your ordinary dressmaking scissors. But with pinking shears, it does ensure that where you're going around a curve, you're not getting too much of a bulk of fabric when you turn it the right way out. Just take care not to cut your stitches as you're using your pinking shears. It has been done by me on many an occasion. Just like so. And then you need to turn it the right way around. And the best way to do that, if you just rub the fabric between your fingers and pop your finger in the top to push it down until you can see it in the hole. Or get yourself a nice chunky knitting needle. Pull that through and do the same with the other one. The reason I leave the turning gap on that straight edge is because if you put a turning gap on a round edge, my knitting needle's just gone straight through this. Hold on a minute. Yeah, if you leave the gap on a curved edge, it's much more difficult to try and get a nice seam. I'm just going to re-sew that because where I have sewn on the yellow side, I have neglected to notice that the blue side is not quite as big. So I'm just going to go back over there. So the trials of not pinning your fabric quite as well as you thought you had. so ignore that bit a minute ago. Hopefully this time I can get it back through the turning gap without piercing the fabric. And then just pull it through. I don't know why I put that back. Carefully push out your curves and your corners. Okay, something like a, what's this, a 6mm knitting needle is perfect because it's got enough of a point on it, but it's not so sharp that you're going to pierce your fabric. And then what you would do is give it a good press. And then sometimes what I do, I haven't actually got a glue stick to hand at the minute, but what I'll do is put a little bit of glue inside there to just put that together to close the turning gap. So you will have your little shapes like this. Let's put them that way up so you can see them on the cutting mat. And then quite simply what you do is you fold them in half and you thread elastic through the loop. So here are some that I have made earlier. And if I grab myself some cotton, normally I prepare my needle and thread. Stupidly today I've forgotten to, so you're now going to have to watch me struggle to thread a needle. Oh, there you go, not too bad. And what I would do for this, for security, is actually use a double length of thread. Because what you want to do is you want to take your petal, wrap it over the top of some round elastic. I mean, this is quite nice round elastic. It's nice and thick. You can get round elastic in all sorts of colours. And then just pop the knot on the inside and over so. And then just run a running stitch across the base of the petal, taking care not to catch your elastic in the stitch as you do so. Gather it up. And lock it in place with a couple of stitches. Like so. I'll just show you that again. I nearly cut the elastic. That would have been good, wouldn't it? So as I say, take your double petal, fold it over the elastic, remove the dog hair. It's the bane of my life. If it's not my hair, it's the dog hair or the cat's hair. And say run a running stitch across the base of the petal without catching the elastic. Gather up the running stitch and lock it. Like so. And then once you've got your petals on there, I mean, 12 is a nice number actually. All threaded on your elastic like this. Hold on to the short end. Move them up the elastic towards the short end. And this is really because I'm so careful with money, I don't like to waste elastic. and then tie an overhand knot, turn it into a reef knot and pull it tight. But don't pull it tight without pulling both of it. If you just pull these ends, if you're not careful, what will happen, especially if your elastic is satin covered, is that reef knot will just get tighter and tighter, and you'll find when you try and put your scrunchie on, you can't actually stretch it anymore. And then also for security's sake, let's just trim that. I'm also then going to tie that both ends in an overhead knot, because 2 knots are better than 1. And if you tie that in an overhead knot, what it does mean is you can cut your ends of your elastic off relatively short, and there isn't the danger of it coming undone. And then what you can do is just manipulate one of the petals over the top of the knot to disguise it. In an ideal world, you can manipulate one of the petals over the top of the knot to disguise it. If you can't, grab a knitting needle and stuff it in there. Oh, always the way, always the final thing of a demonstration that doesn't actually go as easily as it should. Oh. There you go. Do you know what? I'm going to leave that to your imagination, because I know I'm going to pull it so tight it will just come out the other end again. So then you can stretch it out, you can rearrange your petals, give them a good shake, and there you have it. I'm not going to put my hair in a bun to demonstrate, but you get the gist of how pretty that will be on a small child with a bun. You can make them any size you want. As I say, the template will be in the description to download. If you don't want one that's quite as big as this, you can just either shorten the depth of that template, shorten the height of the petal. But it's a nice idea for a summer barbecue, gift bag for a little girl, if you've got a school fete coming up, things like that. Christmas coming, you can make it as stocking fillers. And it's also a great way to use up scraps of fabric, because they don't all have to be the same fabrics. They don't even all have to be out of coordinated ranges. You can just find colours that are similar and make a nice petal scrunchie. Hope you enjoyed that demonstration. I hope you will come back and see us again very, very soon. And have a look on Facebook, find us there. We'll be under the craft channel, but you can leave comments and let us know how you've been getting on. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching. If you've been inspired to create, please share your makes with us in the comments section below. And if you've enjoyed videos by the Crafts channel, hit the like button. Want to see more of us? Then click subscribe. See you next time.